Today we are going to learn about angles and unit angles. Let's do the solve and share together. If a clock shows it's 3 o'clock, how could you describe the smaller angle made by the two hands of the clock? Solve this problem any way you choose. Okay, take a minute and try to solve the problem. I drew a clock, and if you look at the clock, if it is 3 o'clock, then I have this angle right here. I'm going to circle it in yellow. It's kind of hard to see. Here, I'll circle it in blue for you. So it's just asking what kind of angle is this right here. And if I look at it, it is a 90-degree or a right angle. At the bottom, it says, what two fractions does the hands divide the clock into? Well, if we look at this part of the clock right here, and if I color it in, and I'm going to draw an invisible line on both sides, the blue that's colored in would be 1/4, and the rest of the clock that's not colored would be 3/4. So those would be my two fractions. What is the unit used to measure angles? An angle is measured with units called degrees. An angle turns through 1 out of 360 of a circle is called a unit angle. How can you determine the angle measure of a right angle and the angle that turns through 1/6 and 2/6 of a circle? We use 360 degrees because a circle all the way around is measured at 360 degrees. We also have to remember that an angle that measures 1 degree is a unit angle, or a 1-degree angle. In order to find out how many degrees an angle is, we need to divide. So, we're going to divide to find the angle measure of a right angle. So here we have our right angle, as we can see. Right angles divide a circle into 4 equal parts. So therefore, we're going to divide 360 divided by 4 and get 90 degrees. The measure of a right angle is 90 degrees. And you guys already knew that. Now, let's look at the next part. It says we have to multiply to find the measure of an angle that turns through 1/6 of a circle. So we're going to multiply by 1/6 to calculate the angle measure. And when we're multiplying by a fraction, we're actually dividing. So we're going to do 1/6 times 360. And 360 would, as a fraction, would be 360 over 1. So when we multiply, we get 360 degrees over 6. And then we just divide and get 60 degrees. So the angle measure is 60 degrees. Now, we're also going to find the measure of an angle that turns through 2/6 of a circle. So we know that 1/6 is 60 degrees. So we just have to figure out what 2/6 is going to be. And remember that 2/6 equals 1/6 plus 1/6. So we're going to add to calculate the measure of 2/6 of a circle. Since 1/6 is 60 degrees, then one more 6 will also be 60 degrees, and we're going to end up with 120 degrees. The angle measure of 2/6 of a circle is 120 degrees. Let's look down at the convince me. It says Susan thinks the measure of angle B is greater than the measure of angle A. Do you agree? Explain. The answer is no, because the size of the circle does not change the measure of the angle. So they both have the same angle, but one circle is bigger than the other. Both circles have an angle of measure of 60 degrees. Let's take a look at another example. It says, find the fraction of a circle that an angle with a measure of 45 degrees turns through. So a 45-degree angle turns through 45 out of 360 of a circle. If you divide 360 by 45, you get 8. So we know that 45 times 8 is going to be 360. So 45 degrees is 1/8 of 360. One 45-degree angle is 1/8 of the circle. And here, you can see it right here. Whoops, sorry. You can see it right over here. All right, let's look at do you understand? What fraction of the circle does a 120-degree angle turn through? In this case, to solve this problem, I'm just going to divide. I know that one circle is 360 degrees, and I'm going to divide by 120 degrees, and I will get 3. So I know that when it asks what fraction of a circle does a 120-degree angle turn through, it is going to be 1/3 is going to be my answer. I'm going to circle that. Number 2. Mike cuts a pie into 4 equal pieces. What is the angle measure of each piece? Write and solve the equation. This is just like the one we did on the solve and share. We know that each piece of the pie is going to be 90 degrees because a circle is 360 degrees. I'm going to write with a different color. It's easier to see. 360 degrees. And we're going to divide it into 4 equal pieces. So we're going to get 90 degrees. So each piece would be 90 degrees. Number 3. A circle is divided into 9 equal parts. What is the angle measure of one of those parts? In this case, we're going to take 360 and we're going to divide by 9. Well, I know that 9 goes into 36 4 times, so I'm going to get an answer of 40. So I know that my answer is going to be 40 degrees. That's a degree sign, not another 0. All right, let's look at number 4. An angle turns through 2/8 of the circle. What is the measure of this angle? Well, since it's not a unit fraction, we're going to use 1/8, and then the number that we get, we're going to double. So we're going to take 360 and we're going to multiply it by 1/8 because that is the same thing as dividing, and we know that the unit fraction of 2/8 is 1/8. So 1/8 plus 1/8 is 2/8. So we're just going to divide, and we're going to get 360 over 8. 8 goes into 360 45 times. I'm going to move this down here. 45 times. So we're going to do 45 plus 45 equals 90. So our answer is going to be 90 degrees. You are going to do the rest of the problems on this page and the next page. I am going to do number 6 with you, though, just because I want to do one more with you to help you. And then I will go over any questions that you guys have during our Zoom meeting on Wednesday, or unless you want to come to my office hours tomorrow. So let's look at number 6 real quick, because this is a different one that we haven't used yet because it has 3/8. Now it's hard for me to write on here because my stylus, so I'm going to kind of write around the page a little bit, but just follow along with me. So I am going to do 360 times 1/8 because that's going to be my unit fraction. And we just did that. So we know from number 4 that we're going to get 45 degrees. Okay? But since there's 3/8, we're going to do 45 3 times. So you can either add 45 3 times, or you can just do 45 times 3. We're going to regroup our 1. We're going to get 135. So the answer to number 6 is going to be, I'm going to write it in another color so you can see it, 135 degrees. And the reason I got that is because I took 3/8 the unit fraction would have been 1/8. The circle is 360 degrees, so I multiplied 360 degrees times 1/8. And since I have this 3 here, I just added my answer 3 times. So for number 5, you're not going to add it. You're just going to do 360 times 1/5. For number 7, you're going to do 360 times 1/5 again, but then you're going to add it twice because there's a 2 right here. And for number 8, you're going to do 360 times 1/6. And since there's a 2, you're going to add it twice. On the back, on page 780, try to do the problems on here. I just have a little tip for you for number 14. This one was a little bit confusing. It says Jake cut a round gelatin dessert into 8 equal pieces. 5 of the pieces were eaten. What is the measure of the dessert that was left? This is a 2-step problem. You have to figure out how many pieces were left and then find the unit fraction. I will answer any questions and go over any of these with you either tomorrow during my office hour Zoom meeting at 1 or on Wednesday. Also, when you are done, please take a picture of it and either send it to me by email or send it to me through your Google Classroom, just like you would turn in the assignment. I worked with Brandon, and he showed me that if you take a picture with your Chromebook, it gives you an option just to go straight to your classroom, and then you can submit it that way. But whatever works easiest for you. Okay, I will see you at the Zoom meeting today.